One of the slickest racing movies ever made is hitting screens soon, and I can tell you that Brad Pitt may be the face of this film, but make no mistake, Joseph Kosinski is the star. Let's talk about it. Joseph Kosinski has been making a name for himself with blockbuster films. He's got a precision with his filmmaking, did a great job with Oblivion, with Tom Cruise, worked with him again on Top Gun Maverick, which looked astounding. One of his standout films is Tron Legacy, which is still beautiful years and years later, and F1 is his latest. But there's another movie I think you should check out. It's called Only the Brave, about some firefighters, and that was also impeccably directed. This guy really understands where to put the camera, how to make the scene thrilling, how to engage your senses with the way that he fuses the symmetry of the frame and the kinetic qualities of the movement that he's putting on screen with always fantastic soundtracks. The guy has excelled at hiring and working with composers, this time with Hans Zimmer, and there are echoes of that Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross style of music in this movie, and oh my God, it hits with a punch. Every time the movie kind of evokes good old boy rock and roll type music, which this does, because Brad Pitt is playing an aged racer that will race anything, but had kind of left the sport of F1 racing because of a tragic accident, and so we find him in his trailer, and so every once in a while some classic rock will pop up, and it just feels so disconnected from the sleekness and the sort of stylistic qualities that Kosinski is painting with his film all the way through, which I adored. And that's not to say that I didn't like Brad Pitt's performance. The guy is one of the most charming actors ever to appear in anything. I mean, he's immediately likable, and he is, again, as this F1 racer. It's just that we have seen this version of Brad Pitt in a lot of stuff before. That sort of super cool guy, the super chill guy that can kind of work his way through anything. And there are some emotional moments in the film where he's meeting with Kerry Condon and her character, or Javier Bardem and his character. Fantastic actors in this, by the way. Damson Idris is also excellent as this young upstart. But Sonny Hayes, the character that Brad Pitt plays, of course the guy is named Sonny Hayes. I mean, there's just such a cliched quality about all this. This is like you could put any blockbuster movie star into a role like this and it would play out kind of the same. You know what I mean? Like, this is low-hanging fruit emotionally and creatively for Brad Pitt to kind of hit. I think he was a lot more interesting in a similar kind of role as Cliff Booth in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I kind of miss the bigger risk-taking swings that Brad Pitt is capable of, like in Snatch or in 12 Monkeys. The guy is a great actor, and I just like to sort of get him up to bat and take some bigger swings, and that's not really what F1 is about. It's really a love letter to the sport, and it's authentic, and they're actually racing on the track with real teams from around the world. They actually went on the F1 season, and they really sort of integrate into that world in a wonderful way. Lewis Hamilton, the F1 champion, is a producer on this film and an advisor on the movie. And so it does feel like we're getting a real deep immersion into the experience of F1, which is cool. And there is also a repetition in the way that the races kind of unfold and the way that they're shot. But honestly, the dynamic quality of the way that Kosinski directs the stuff and all the new technology that he employed, some of it a carryover from Top Gun Maverick, makes these scenes really thrilling and also really new. We haven't really been in the cockpit with the drivers like this, and you can tell it's really Pitt doing a lot of this super fast driving, and you can almost feel the G-forces. And so there is this beautiful hypnotic quality with the way that this movie has been put together. And it's a long movie. I think it's too long. I think they could have cut out a good half hour on this, but it's so elegantly created that I don't think it's going to bore you. I think if you go and see this film and you know what you're in for, you're going to see a lot of racing, and you're going to see a pretty perfunctory kind of character that Brad Pitt could play in his sleep, but it's still fun to watch. And all of the actors in this movie, Brad Pitt included, aren't dropping the ball here. I think Javier Bardem has got some really interesting work. We don't normally see this guy because he's a terrific character actor and he can come at his scenes in a lot of really interesting ways. But in this movie, he's kind of a buttoned down, stylish, team owner that's kind of at wit's end, and there's some pressure on him to deliver this season. That's why he kind of goes back and enlists the help of his buddy here. And I did like that Sonny Hayes has a bit of that Moneyball charm. There's another movie where there's just slices of this performance we've seen across so many things. He's so cool, you know? And I don't know, I kind of wish that the Pitt character in this film was maybe a little less cool. It's definitely shades of Top Gun Maverick as well, and you know, the character of Maverick in here. But Javier Bardem has definitely got a little bit more to play with. And Kerry Condon as this super smart analyst who's a big integral part of the team, who really understands the engineering and the craftsmanship on these vehicles and the milliseconds they need to shave off in order to succeed. She is a humanizing and interesting component of the storytelling here, because we really get into the science of how this stuff operates and the pressures that these teams are under to deliver for their corporate partners and the sponsors and the ratings and their drivers. And if the drivers don't win, they're out of the game, and the pressure is super high. And Damson Idris kind of exemplifies a little bit of that as well. He needs to start winning at the sort of beginning of his career. So yeah, it's a solid film for sure. It's a very entertaining summer movie. I think you can kind of sort of read on the surface level what you're going to get, but what makes it super special is Joseph Kosinski's immaculate direction and the Hans Zimmer soundtrack, which is a great partner for the beautiful visuals that we see on screen. I think it's worth watching. I think it's worth watching on a big screen. I saw it on an IMAX screen and it was breathtaking. It's a beautiful movie. I just wish it had more emotional impact. I'm going to give F1 an 8 out of 10.